What's up, guys? Welcome back to Picture Breakdown. This is going to be my breakdown of Loki Episode 2, The Variant. I'm going to be going through this episode shot by shot for interesting visual details, hidden references, as well as any background information that you might need to know. But first, if you're new to the channel, grab that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to be notified for every Loki episode breakdown. Just a quick heads up, there's going to be spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen the episode already, go and check it out on Disney+. Alright, let's get right into it. So, we open in Wisconsin during a Renaissance fair, and there's a bunch of signs like Middleton Stag, Fare Thee Well, Dragonfly Armor, Free Juggling School, and Cavern Hill. The one that I'm most interested in is the sign that says, Today's guest performances with Falconry Show and the Court Jester. I'm thinking that Falconry Show could be a nod to the last Disney Plus show we got of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They go into a tent where they see variant energy is coming from, and on the speakers a recording is being played saying,
My lords, my ladies, welcome, and thank you for joining us here at the castle. Please, settle into your seats, for a great battle is about to commence. The prize, our princess, will evil prevail.
This is the first bit of foreshadowing that Lady Loki is coming in this episode, saying that if the TVA wins, they would get the prize of the princess, which this Loki would be the princess of Asgard. In the tent, the commander is taken control over by Lady Loki by being touched in the temple, with green magic flowing through her head and her eyes turning green. This is very reminiscent of how Wanda messed with the minds of the Avengers in Age of Ultron, and her attempt to do the same to Agatha Harkness in WandaVision. After Lady Loki wrecks the TVA Minutemen, she holds up a screen thing that they use to open the time doors, and it says the exact date of April 12th, 1985. I also love the design of this thing. It has the option to open the time door, to contact Miss Minutes, probably like the Siri of this device, going into settings, and going into the directory. She clicks to open the time door, and she drags the commander through it. We then cut to Loki being quizzed by Miss Minutes, and you can see on the screen it says, let's see what you know, with the question as, the guy has 2 apples, he eats both but realizes that he wants more. He goes back in time 20 minutes and eats the apples again. Does this mean that the apples will not have existed in the timeline that he left? There are answers A, B, and C, with A being no, because time is constantly happening, B, which is being selected, the question doesn't matter because branches cannot change other branches, and C being, the guy would have been hungry prior because the grandfather paradox would have already accounted for the change in matter before its move. The grandfather paradox is referenced here, which is a thought experiment in which someone goes back in time, he kills his grandfather before his parents are born, and this would result in him not being born. So how would he be able to go back in time to kill his grandfather in the first place? This paradox doesn't exist in Marvel time travel rules because in their rules, if you killed your grandfather, it would just create a branch timeline in which your grandfather had died then, and it would not affect your timeline. They get a report that there was another ambush by the variant Loki, and they meet before going to check it out. Mobius says that there has been many variant Lokis, so he shows a few. The first one is a variant in which Loki has blue skin, which is his normal skin color because Loki's actually a frost giant. I think I caught a mistake on the animator's part. When they're on the wide shot showing the blue Loki, his variant number is L1247, but when it's zoomed in, his number is L6792. But the next variant, the runner, is L1247, the same number shown in the wide shot for the blue Loki. The next variant is L6792, which is a Loki that looks like he might be some kind of mix between him and the Hulk. Maybe Loki figured out a way to get super strong since he was absolutely demolished by the Hulk in Avengers.
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that. Puny god.
The next one is variant L8914, a Loki variant that looks like some sort of hippie. And then there's a Loki variant L7803, who has some kind of either gladiator or elven outfit that he's wearing. After Loki tries to stall to get his way, Mobius is taken into Renslayer's office to discuss what happened during the mission, and she gives him a paper to sign so that Loki can go one more time, and he signs MMM, which is a cool detail because his full name is actually Mobius M. Mobius. Loki sees his file, and he sees the destruction of Asgard during Ragnarok, and he sees that 9,719 people died during the event, which during Thor Ragnarok, not that many people died because they were able to get onto a ship and fly away. But if this Loki's timeline would have continued, he would have not been a part of Ragnarok, so everyone on Asgard would have been killed when Surtur destroyed it, because in Ragnarok, it was Loki that brought the ship that got them off Asgard before it was destroyed. Loki then goes over to Mobius to clarify what happens during a Nexus event as
Nexus events happen when someone does something they're not supposed to do, right? And then that thing they're not supposed to do cascades into a whole range of other things that aren't supposed to happen, and so on and so forth, until eventually a new timeline branches. Yes?
This could resolve the differences between time travel logic explained by the Ancient One and the TVA's explanation of time travel. The Ancient One said that timelines only split when Infinity Stone is removed, and this would explain that when a wrong action is taken, it will cascade into many changes in the timeline, eventually changing the destiny of an Infinity Stone, therefore creating a branch in the timeline. Loki and Mobius go to sit down and talk, and Loki asks him how it all ends, and Mobius says,
Au contraire. No, because while we protect what came before, they're toiling away in their chamber, untangling the epilogue from its infinite branches.
I see.
This is saying that the Timekeepers are still working on trying to wind the multiverse of the distant future into the sacred timeline, and that it's the TVA's job to keep the sacred timeline that is made intact as one single line. They figure out that the apocalypse in which the Loki variant is hiding is a hurricane in Haven Hills, Alabama. This hurricane is a Category 8, which is insane because the categories are exponential, meaning that the Category 5 hurricane, the most powerful in existence, is 500 times more powerful than a Category 1 hurricane. So I'm going to leave it up to you to imagine how devastatingly powerful a Category 8 hurricane would be. When they get to the spot where Lady Loki is hiding, Loki fights off one of the guys she has control over, and while he's doing that, he uses telekinesis to force a Roomba into his hand. This is a brand new ability that we have not yet seen from Loki. All he's pretty much done so far is use illusion magic and make things disappear and appear again. After Loki gets knocked to the ground, he gets up, and the variant Loki reveals themselves to be Lady Loki, played by Sophia DiMartino, and she has blonde hair instead of black hair, which I think they would have had a reason to do that, because it kind of just makes sense that they would just have her have black hair like Loki. She sets off the reset charges, and we get an overhead shot showing 42 different charges, which means that she had to ambush at least 21 separate groups of Minutemen successfully, assuming that they had 2 charges each. The charges are all set to tons of different places, and here they all are. There's Niflheim, the place where Hela was being imprisoned while Odin was still alive, Dartforth, England, Vietnam, Lisbon, Portugal, Vormir, the place where the Soulstone is, Thorsten, USA, Cooksville, USA, Asgard, Rome, Sakaar the Trash Planet in Ragnarok, Brescia, Colombia, Porvoo, Finland, Ego, the planet and Star-Lord's father, Titan, the home planet of Thanos, New York, Tokyo, Hala, the homeworld of the Kree Empire, Kingsport, USA, Xandar, the planet visited by the Guardians of the Galaxy, Beijing, and Madrid. I love how when the worker finds out that the timelines are branching, he uses one of those old dial telephones that you have to spin to get every single number. I mean, you could use the technology of any time and you choose to use this technology. He then says,
This is Analyst 1182E, reporting a code 000. Branch is rapidly forming at a...
Which means that this was the first and most important rule that the TVA made to keep the sacred timeline intact. Lady Loki escapes through one of the time doors, and the time door stays open long enough for Loki to follow. Every time someone has gone through one of the doors, they have shut right behind them, so the door staying open means that Lady Loki wanted Loki to follow her. So during the end, while they were in the Roxcart store, they find Hunter C20 on the floor saying it's real and it was real. So this means that she found out about something that happened in the past, or there was someone in the past that was horrific. She said that she gave away...
I gave it away.
What did you give away?
The Timekeepers, where they are. I gave it away how to find them.
This means that Lady Loki showed her something in the past that was horrific that related to the Timekeepers. My thoughts is that the Timekeepers, instead of merging all the different universes of the multiverse, just straight up destroyed every single one of them except the one that they now call the Sacred Timeline. And now that they're able to rule over one single universe in existence. Hunter C20 would have been shown this and now is horrified that the Timekeepers would do such a thing. I love this episode, and there were some very interesting things that happened throughout the entire thing, and now I'm just shaking with excitement for the next one. The only real problem I had with this episode was the crown that they gave Lady Loki. I think that it gives some sort of cheap plastic vibe that you might get in a Halloween costume, and the tiny horns just don't seem to look right to me. I do like the Loki clothes that she's wearing. I think they look pretty good, and I just hope that they give a good explanation to why her hair isn't black, because nothing but her outfit really screams Loki to me. I'm really solid still on my idea that this is going to be the best Marvel show yet, and I'm really excited to watch and break down the next week's episode for you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified for every future Loki breakdown. And if you know someone who's watching Loki, please consider sharing this with them, put down any questions or comments, and let me know if you think the Timekeepers murdered all the other timelines. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next breakdown.